Hello there, and welcome back to some more Disco Elysium. In the last episode, what we did was we opened a door for this man, Mr. Everett, and we didn't look inside because I'm a good boy. And now I'm going to see what he has to say. I opened the door, you asked me. Can we discuss? Oh, hello.
Pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair.
I opened the door, you asked me. Can we discuss the murder now?
I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
He's trying to figure out if you're lying.
The deal wasn't for me to go inside, so I didn't.
You're right, Harry. You only had to unlock the door, which you did. So we're all good here.
He was testing you, and you succeeded.
Indeed.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is going to start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is going to be good.
I've heard about a connection between the lynching and the strike. I'd like to hear what you know about it.
By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps.
I'm listening.
Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
Right.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire?
If that's true, that's not on.
He performs a motion as if spraying bullets from a machine gun.
I'm talking beasts. Hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramaritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant.
Hold on, you have a village elephant?
No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real.
Go on.
Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container.
Wait, they moved the container?
Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types.
Right.
One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
It's a bit macabre, but okay.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill.
Wait, the whole neighborhood is in on it?
Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base.
Who exactly did the pushing?
There's a militant wing inside the Union. A group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Right.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
I see.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinez boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
He places a lot of faith in that lawyer girl. Perhaps this is a tactical error? Anyway,
How do you know the mercenaries are hired by the shipping company?
How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
I see. There was that guy who did look a bit odd to be a worker.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
That does sound quite unlikely, yes. The big guy leading the scabs at the gate is colossal.
You mentioned a lawyer girl.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal.
He's grinning broadly about that. He's happy with that. Tell me about Titus Hardy and his crew.
Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself.
He starts laughing.
Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinez and Revachol in mind.
You didn't answer my colleague's question.
Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets.
Everard, I've met these Hardys. Can you ask them to cooperate with me?
But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
You can now go and tell Titus about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real.
Wait, what are you giving it to me?
I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real.
I don't need it. I only wanted you to help me with the Hardy boys.
Oh, I wasn't offering it to you, just holding it out there. But I'm willing to share information. Was there anything else?
I can't take a bribe from him because otherwise I'm a pocketed cop. I mean, I kind of already am, but I'm not going to take money from him because that sort of entrenches the whole thing. Good talk. Let's conclude for now.
Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinez. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet.
Yet?
Yes, Harry. It's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left, so you have to be a social democrat. He's been hurt too much in the past by men who aren't social democrats.
This is another crook scheme, isn't it? I'm neither left nor right. I do what my heart tells me to do.
What does your heart tell you about your lost gun, Harry? Does it tell you to forget about it? Or do you think it wants to be found? I think it's lonely and cold. I think it wants to be found, and I have a proposal for you.
I mean, as me, Joey, the person, I don't really do what my heart tells me to do either. I don't really do anything.
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
Kim, what do you think of this?
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
But, he thinks, it's your call.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm going to hand you the keys to Martinez, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
He's saying as little as possible, as vaguely as he can, deliberately omitting things.
Fine, if I happen to be there, I can ask them.
You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here.
He hands you a open white envelope.
You need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, Mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then we can talk about your gun.
Okay.
See you soon, Debardeur. Just kidding, but not too much.
I'm not going to open the envelope. It's not my concern. None of this is my concern. Get Isabel and Lillian in the nameless fishing village down the coast to sign Everard's document. One of the signatures is secured. Mail the document to Everard's accountant using the mailbox on the plaza in front of the whirling. I need more volition. That's what I remember. Because with volition I can do Kim Katsuragi's volition there. I can do talking to the corpse. Joyce Messier volition. I've got to do interfacing. And then probably thinking what would be next. The Inland Empire I've got to do to find out who the man is. Okay. Also it gives me more morale. But as in terms of other skills, wrong one. I think I need, Inland Empire I need a bit of. I've already got physical instrument as high as it will go. And then things like interfacing and stuff, but my intellect is where it's at. But unfortunately being smart doesn't solve everything. In fact, sometimes being smart can create more problems. So I've got until Wednesday morning before I can carry on with what I would consider to be the quote-unquote main quest. So I'll speak to Titus, because hopefully with Everard saying cooperate, biatch, then I will be able to actually talk to him, and that will help me out. I don't know what I want from the conversation, because I'm not going to arrest him. I mean, really I should, as a police officer, arrest him for doing the bad things, but what am I going to do? As Everard says, they're not exactly just going to let me arrest them. And I don't really want to get the big killed, okay?
The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer slides out to greet you.
Let me try and force myself to go through the folders again.
Whatever's hidden here
Beautiful.
is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer.
Let's look at the
It
note.
appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled.
Turn to the lieutenant. Look, Kim, a to-do note with a list of errands for Everard.
One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Blood?
Let me have another look.
Remember, Leo, Everard's all items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself is crumpled. The drawer slides.
I might be able to ask the chef about the borscht. But I got some experience for that, so that's good. I got 70 experience for just opening a door. Now, I don't know what the fuck I would have found if I'd opened the door and looked inside, but I'm not that kind of person. Someone tells me to do a task, I'm not going to do anything more than the task itself. And if he says there's nothing illegal about it, then, you know, there's nothing illegal about it. Obviously, in real life, I wouldn't trust someone that easily, but... in real life, I wouldn't trust people like that. But, you know... for now, I don't see why not. Alright, lads.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time?
Are you Lizzie, Elizabeth, Miss Beaufort?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
She points to the tall man by the table.
Even though she has excellent control over herself, something moved behind her eyes. In the way she stands. In her face.
Easy Leo told me a lot about you. He likes to talk a lot.
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to question these men.
What's your role in all this?
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems?
Are you the Hardy girl?
I am not.
She says dryly.
You could be Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International.
Get a grip, Glenn. She went to law school.
So fucking what? Lots of models are actually really smart people, fuckwad.
No, Glenn, they aren't.
Her tone is cold and uninvolved.
This didn't change her opinion of you.
It's fine, I got experience.
It's not her. She's not a Hardy girl. Definitely.
What are you going to do to me?
What are we going to do to you?
She starts laughing. Is a cold laughter devoid of joy.
The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress.
I might have shot someone in the head a couple of times. Maybe we'll talk later.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Watch your fucking tone, Chief. Me and Everett talked. He promised you to cooperate.
Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you. Is that it, lawman?
Yes.
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You're gonna go and tell on us?
Very mature, guys. Everett sent word, right?
Yeah, I heard him. Now fuck do you think I'm doing here? You'd have your ass handed to you if it wasn't for the boss man's word. Let me state this very clearly, capo. Hello, officer. I'm Titus Hardy, and these are my boys, Hardy boys. How may we assist you?
But having Everard back you up like that did seem to have some effect.
It would take an army to bend Titus to its will. Right, so I need godly authority. I'm gonna take off now. I can't talk to you yet. I've got 3% chance of it succeeding. Here's my authority. Wait, what's the borscht, Chief?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging.
Right, I'm gonna try the pots and see if it leads to
He
the borscht.
smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove.
Okay, you might not know.
You see a heavy the door.
Can't push the door. Just thinking, just trying to find different things.
Can I help you?
That's another thing at the whirling.
Lovely. Great.
So yes.
I love those.
So the phone line's dead.
Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers.
Is it true there's foul play?
Who told you that?
I would never disclose my sources. That'd be dishonourable.
Fine, yeah. It looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of assholes around here who aren't murderers. If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know so I can forward them the repair bill.
Okay.
Yes?
About my bill for
20
tonight.
real.
Not yet.
Why are you wasting my time and yours?
Goodbye. He's right, but I don't want to admit it. I don't know why I'm wasting everyone's time. I should just go and jump off a bridge. Sorry, that's just my my manic depression coming back out again. Not mine, the characters. Joey, as far as I know, Joey doesn't have any. Right. Elysium. What can we do with Elysium? I knew I wanted to get it for something. I remember saying it. The doorbell? I probably can't do the doorbell yet. And Joyce. Okay.
All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away. The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting.
What am I doing?
Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair.
And what do I see?
Grey sky like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world.
And how does it feel?
Humid. Your coat shields you from the rain while the city shivers around you.
What's in the west?
Sheets of rain over the water. A flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinaise, with its motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky.
Who are you, ghosts?
The skyscrapers of La Delta, the financial district. Faint golden light seeps from the office windows.
What's down the shore?
Urban coastline, rain dripping off Eternite-covered roofs. Cinder blocks left over from half-finished construction. A defunct research and development building, once seized by revolutionaries. An old wooden church stands on stilts above the water.
And beyond that?
Coal City, end of all lines.
Run your fingers through the dampened hair. Here is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighbouring coal plants. Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance. What's in the east?
The great gates of the industrial harbour are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide.
Clench your teeth, stop shuddering.
Behind the gates, heaps of supply crates, red and blue metal shipping containers, slick with rain. The Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour is an artificial mountain range. Immense wealth resides within, and immeasurable poverty in its shadow.
I really do wish I could see life like this. Like, being able to see that and be struck with inspiration of the artificial mountain and the depths of depravity underneath and the absolute opulence inside it, but my brain doesn't work like that. And beyond that?
La Drusienne, King Drie's passenger harbour. Cruise ships flanked by dock arms. Cranes watching over the mouth of the river distributary.
What's across the distributary?
Couron, the lower middle class. Distributary after distributary cuts the city blocks in half. 7-story buildings trail off into the rain.
What's beyond the Couron?
A silvery curtain of rain over the houses. The class divide. You have never been there. They don't need the law east of the river.
What's in the north?
Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long ago. Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play. The news at noon.
And closer to here?
A yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. Coal leaks into a puddle beneath a dead man's feet. He swings from a tree, bloated. Droplets of rain slip from his cold cheeks.
And what's in the south?
A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised.
And what's on the other side?
The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock.
Why am I not there?
To be in Martinaise, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution fell.
What am I doing here?
Standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches inland.
Should go and look further.
In the rain-swept distance, above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain. Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink.
Is it slightly acidic? What's above?
Coalition aerostatics hang like apparitions under the cloud cover. Way up there, where rain forms, rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears.
Motherfucker.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. At least we are dressed for it. Let's keep moving.
Right, so let's try the old intercom.
An old called East Delta Commerce Center. This
even.
must be the name of the doomed commercial area.
So I need a bit more volition for that. I keep pressing escape to leave, and that's not what I want to do. Right. I could speak to Joyce and see if Kim will let me go now because he trusts me. Yeah, I don't know why the ring sometimes stays up. It's just a visual bug. It doesn't really matter, but I do notice it. Right. I've got lots of quests. I definitely want to take the boots. In order to succeed, the body has to be down, the autopsy has to be finished, and Kim has to be absent. The body has to be down. Okay, so I have to do that anyway. But I've got to do it like right before bedtime so that the cops don't have time to come and take it away in the night by the time I get there. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. Alright, love.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
She pats a wet
All
raincoat.
around you, rain keeps falling down. On the wooden boards she's standing on, and on the water around you.
Neither do I. Pat my similarly wet cloak.
Very rugged. Good choice. Now, I suspect you had questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day. Am I right?
By the way, I've talked to Everett Clare.
You have. And how did you like Mr. Clare?
Finally, time to choose sides.
It's not important if I liked him, I was doing my job.
Of course, Detective. Excuse me for implying otherwise.
The RCM does not pick sides in this. I hope it doesn't come off any other way.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something...
Well, Everett said.
How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
I've heard enough hot takes on the internet for a lifetime.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
True.
Tell her she'll like you for it.
He asked me to open a door.
A referral, you mean? I take it this was for someone in the RCM. Don't answer that.
No, I mean like a real door to someone's house.
Oh my. A real door.
The lieutenant does not say anything, but you hear the nylon of his jacket rustle as he looks at you.
It had to be done. I got information. It was useful to the case.
That's good to hear, Detective. Police work is rarely pretty, but it sounds like you did what you had to do.
Her bartering mind cannot fathom that you didn't ask anything in return.
Frankly, what was done was not pretty at all, but neither was it illegal, and it was not for nothing.
Turns to you.
I advise you to be very selective with what information you choose to share. This may have consequences beyond our line of sight.
I see. Everett asked the Union's militant wing to fully cooperate with the investigation.
How benevolent. Hopefully they'll help you sort this whole business out, if they haven't already.
We cannot discuss the specifics of an ongoing investigation, ma'am. Besides, you haven't exactly been forthcoming yourself.
That is only fair.
I've said all I can.
Well, I hope it yields something. Otherwise, you'll have opened that door for naught. Anything else?
Everett says the Wild Pine sent mercenaries. No. I'm not going to say anything. That's all I've got to say.
Naturally, Detective. There are lighter topics to gossip about.
I'd rather talk about something else for now, if you don't mind.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later, down the road, don't be afraid to drop by.
I just opened a door. That doesn't mean anything.
Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
Got some more questions about reality?
More lessons in basic reality? My favourite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
I'm going to ask him to step away.
Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Kim, could I talk to the mom alone for a second?
Fine.
Thank you.
What can he do? You're a grown man.
Now, what is the Pale?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Yes, what is the Pale?
Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
Okay, and what's the Pale like?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
I mean, Kim thinks this is all pseudo-scientific bullshit. That Joey kinda does too, but I'm gonna listen because my character seems to be into this shit.
The negation of being.
The negation of...
That's right. The negation of being.
She tightens her hood around her neck. It's cold outside. Is it here?
No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north.
That's a long
and
way.
even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
That's like what? It's 1.6 kilometers in a mile. So divide that by 1.6, nearly divided by 2, so it's like 3,400 something. 35, maybe a bit more. Miles? That's a long way. And there?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called Porch Collapse.
Okay.
Imagine a grey coronal mist. Cold vapour marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism. A mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
What is its physical qualities?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic.
But why did you piss in your logical?
The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
If we're surrounded by Pale, how do we get from Isla to Isla?
Oh, it is so difficult for us. It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged.
The Pale can damage the mind?
Extensively.
How?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation.
Oh dear.
Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
I wonder if that's what they say when they say beyond the Pale. Is that what they mean?
Who says and who argues?
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue.
What does this over-radiation feel like?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
You're not a civilian passenger.
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entreprenetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale Transit annually.
Are you over-radiated?
Up to my gills, officer.
What is entreprenetic?
Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian Super E-Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
Did they cross it, the Western Plain?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
What has entreprenetics changed then?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
Aerostatic craft?
Hybrid airships, detective.
Ah.
Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely.
And if we do not?
Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
How much Pale is there compared to the world?
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
Slipping how? To our detriment, or?
What do you think, detective?
It's growing, there's more and more of the Pale.
Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate.
Soon the whole world will be Pale.
An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
Cover everything? It can't be. Where would we go?
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge.
This is sort of like entropy as well. Everything is just going to become more and more chaotic until nothing can live.
I suggest you do the same.
Let's return to reality, please.
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
Sometimes sense vague shadows of a past and it's not good.
Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
You were right. It's disco. Crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you, her bloodshot eyes and swollen face.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, detective. If you don't know even this, then...
Oh yes, I'm in serious trouble here.
Your colleague, Lieutenant Kisaragi, is competent. I checked up on him. And you have me. I will try to assist you in any way I can.
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
Even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
She gives you a slight bow.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
Right, let's get to work, Lieutenant.
Good luck, detectives.
Wow, so someone's been a little boring.
What?
Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
Kim, am I boring?
You? I wouldn't worry about that.
See? You're so regular and vinyl brown. He doesn't even want to talk to you about it.
This is Joey speaking. I like standards. I like rules.
Of course you do. Maybe some regulations and a usual pistol to go with them. It's official. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax.
Why not? Send out the telefax then. I'm not ashamed.
Done and done. No actual communiques will be sent, of course. That would be too dramatic.
I'm the sorry cop. And I'm a regular law official. Nothing funky. Also, I need to read these. The kingdom of conscience will be exactly as it is now. Moralists don't really have beliefs. Sometimes they stumble on one like a towel's toy left on the carpet. The toy must be put away. Reading the child recommended centrum isn't changed, not even incremental change its control. So I read that one. Is there other ones? Oh, maybe they do talk to me when I unlocked the thing. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it looks like you got a bit of the normal in you, a touch of the regular. 4 grams of Johnny Normal Cop. Who would have thunk it? You, the extremist of all cops. You said some pretty boring things back there. Now you have 2 choices. You can either leave it behind and forget about it, or you can try to utilise your normalcy, internalise it. Get a touch of vanilla back into the herring-flavoured egg and licorice ice cream of your mind. I just want to be normal. That's fine. If I lose 2 Inland Empire, I'll have 1 Inland Empire. That's not good. But at least I will be able to... Yeah, I can get that. And maybe it'll give me some benefit afterwards. I can always forget things afterwards anyway, although it costs a point to forget too. I'm a regular cop. I just want to do my police work and go home. Is that so extreme? Go home to a wife or husband or anyone who loves me and then be okay with the world. That's all I want. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be able to do the... Tomorrow in-game, I mean, we'll be able to do the thing. Thing I want to do. Suggestion medium doesn't mean much, it's actually quite hard. But I think maybe medium, the difficulty might mean how much does each point of the skill you're trying to do affect how easy it will be. So, like, medium might be a lot better. Like, if you get a point from 2 to 3, the medium might increase its chance by 12% or something. Whereas impossible might increase it by 2. I'm not sure what the knick-knack stand is about. I wish the game gave me a little bit more information about what I was looking at. Okay, so I need... Let's just count all the things I've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 interfacing. 2 physical instrument I can't do anything with. It's 5 interfacing actually. No, these are 2. Yeah. Then I've got volition, still, shivers, a lot of different things. Electrochemistry, pain threshold a few times. Suggestion, empathy, and then visual calculus and rhetoric are whatever, as I see the need. Thank you. I'm taking bottles. I've got to pay for the room somehow. I could have just taken Everart's money, but no, I had to be all moralistic about it. Be like, I don't want to be anyone's fool. Blah, 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 blah.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
Everything is still cool, I'm sure. You're Sealang, you're very cool. I'm a very cool cop. Except, not in today's video's title, probably. And probably something else. I think of them when I make the thumbnails. I'm like, oh, what is this episode about? Let's try and think of one that suits. Yeah, so some woman took my gun. And also I'm pretty almost certainly confident that although I've got health and morale, there isn't going to be any combat whatsoever. Which is fine. It's just a different kind of RPG to the ones I'm used to playing. Mostly JRPGs, but although out of them, mostly just Final Fantasy though. I'm pretty particular. I don't really like anime too much, so...
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Hey tough guy, I had more questions.
Things are busy enough. You're going to waste less of my time?
Maybe.
The hulking man oozes stark skepticism.
Who are these strike bearers?
Honest men and women.
We came
Yes.
here to help.
I have a question. Why do
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No.
They follow
Okay,
the rules
let's
of
have
the
a look.
market.
What exactly
We
is
were
your goal
promised
here?
Work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards had...
The physically impressive man tower has turned his attention back.
What's
Where are
it
you
to
from? Curiosity, gotta figure out the strike mess.
Big mess, caused by Union greed. But I only fight for the rights of people.
Every once in a while, it's like you can see glimpses of another guy.
Alright,
We're all
yeah.
workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling.
Maybe that's why you
Worked
seem
at
familiar.
Territorial. Ring a bell?
Not right now, but I might have been there. I don't really remember things well.
Uh-huh. It was a long time ago.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I think you're all bullshitting. I'm not sure that would go very well, but that's where I was gonna go with it. Okay. I was gonna think you're full of shit. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time when we go and do some more talking and wait for the day to drip on by. I might have to read some books. See you then. Goodbye.